Hey, what's going on, guys? As always, hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone's taking advantage of this weekend and getting involved and getting a chance to rest and hopefully get a chance to relax. For those who is new, definitely want to welcome you to the Real Building Community Trust channel, where this channel is in highlighting community issues and that's going to affect us as a people, and highlighting things that's going on in our news feeds and what's going on in our government and law enforcement, criminal justice related, social justice issues. So I hope this content will give you some highlight, will empower you to get involved in your communities and start thinking about the things that are being said. For those who's been tuning in, thank you as always. I am grateful for the support. You know, whether you're sharing, whether you're watching, whether you're liking the content, please continue to do so. Subscribe and continue to like this video so that the algorithm can spread and that people can get a chance to hear the message. So I'm going to talk about a few things. I'm going to talk freely. There's some few news sources I want to highlight today. I know I haven't been here. Like I said, my content on this channel has not been as frequent, you know, and I hope that it doesn't continue, that you continue to watch and continue to dive into the topics that have been given. If you do have a request of things that you want me to talk about, by all means, please leave in the comments, and I will put out information or do the research on that topic. But before I start on what we're going to talk about today, when I started this channel 2 years ago, I had every intent to highlight the certain things that were going on in our communities then. And we all know that times change, that there are new things that's happening. And a lot of my focus was dealing with police brutality and law enforcement and dealing with what's going on in our communities in regards to that and other topics. But I'm starting to notice that our times is shifted, and there's a lot of things that we could talk about that affects our communities more. So I'm going to kind of try to move forward into addressing different things. Now, is police brutality important? I believe so, especially for the African American communities. It's something that still continues, and it may not be publicized or put out on media channels and news feeds, but it still happens. But there's other issues that we need to discuss. So this channel is going to be more for the different types of exposures. And I'm hopefully that what I say will enlighten, will help you understand and help you see what's going on in your communities and also what's next door. So I want to kind of redirect this channel to other things. And I hope that you continue to watch and continue to enjoy the content, and hopefully it gets you to consider what's going around you and that we decide to make changes. So that's my little spill on that. So I'm going to highlight a few things today. We're going to talk about, if you haven't noticed, a lot going on in the news in regards to missing reports. A lot of our youth, especially what affects all races. And there's white, there's black, there's Hispanic, even a few Asian cultures. But mostly we're going to cover the Hispanic and black young teen girls. Their rate of being missing is up, especially in the West Coast area, especially in like places like California. There's a lot of that missing reports of young teens being 14, 7, 6, even 2 years old. And these numbers are increasing due to what's going on in our country at this time, especially with the migrants and a lot of the stuff they're coming over here from other countries, and they're being let in and they're being smuggled in. It was an interesting article that I kind of watched, like one of those videos, and one of the nonprofit organization representatives stated that the reason that there are a lot of missing reports is due to lack of resources, poverty levels increasing, and even when it comes to COVID-19, when it happened, you know, back in 2020, late 2020, early 2021, it was a lot of different people needing resources, homelessness, you know, people getting put out their homes due to the jobs and due to the lockdowns. And so with that being said, there are more people resorting to sexual exploitation and organ harvesting and some of these other types of things. So with that being said, you're going to see in the news, if you've been paying attention, is a lot more of missing reports in regards to young teen girls getting missing, even mid-age 30s, 20s. A lot of women are being smuggled in. A lot of women are being kidnapped. A lot of women are being put in positions to where they're vulnerable. And you have these these smugglers, I want to say smugglers, and they're taking these women and they're using them for whatever means that they need to keep the industry going. Also, we don't forget that a lot of drugs play in this too. So with the smuggling of fentanyl increasing all over the world, more so the United States and in other countries, fentanyl is being spread across the country, right? So they're using this exploitation to smuggle in drugs as well. This is drugs and human trafficking are interchangeable. So with that, there are different high profile cases of the Lisa Fletcher abduction, where, she's a granddaughter of a multi-billionaire. She was abducted and they caught the person for it. And you got to understand that there's so much going on in regards to, our youth. And I'll talk about our youth before and seeing how they're being exploited and targeted. And if you have children and you're watching this, it's always to consider the safety of your children, especially with school starting back. And in most places, school is starting back, if not already started. This is Labor Day weekend. Usually after Labor Day weekend, most schools start going back. So we got to be mindful of what our children are doing, where they're going. We got to be mindful of where our locations of our children, even if our schools are safe, what are they doing. You got to know your plans with your children, because at any time, someone, can abduct our youth. Interesting things with those who drive and those who drive at certain times of the day, whether in daytime or nighttime, more so at nighttime. You got to be mindful of your vehicles. You got to be mindful of, zip ties and people putting things on the door and different types of chemicals that will cause you to be vulnerable and put you in a position to be abducted, especially if you're working late at night, or those who are traveling at night, or those who are going out to parties or going to entertainment venues. We got to be mindful and being able to know what's going on in our surroundings. So first thing first, I would like to propose people to think about, if you're not already doing so, is to be mindful as a youth. If you have young teenage girls, or you have high school or even college, those who are in college, you want to make sure that they're teaching them to be aware. Make sure they have some type of self-defense mechanism, whether it's mace or whether it's a knife, or teaching them how to use weapons, but also most importantly, being aware. If you're going out, if you're working late, make sure you're checking your car doors. Make sure you park your cars in places where there's light, or next to a building where you see people at. Make sure that you're letting someone know where you are. You're making contact with them so they know where the last place you're at. Being aware, just being vigilant. Especially for the high schoolers, those who are driving, those who are going to parties, you're drinking and you're getting involved with other people. Make sure you be mindful who you're around. All these different type of things, because at any moment, especially in certain locations, things can happen. Things can be, put in position where someone can be abducted or kidnapped. And it may seem small. It may seem like, oh, this is not going to happen to my child. Oh, this and that and the other. But we got to be mindful, man. You just never know in these times. We never know what's going on in these times. And it seems redundant, but it's important to put this stuff out. And if you're not careful, then it could happen to you. We say this with the full intent that it would never happen. But at the same time, we got to be mindful and vigilant. And making sure we're educating our youth, and making sure that we're caring, and we're making sure we're asking where they're going and being mindful. And if you're in college, make sure you still, as parents, educate our youth, college girls, to saying, hey, make sure that you're doing this A, B, C, D, checking your vehicles. Make sure you let someone know where you're going. Make sure you're being careful if you're going to drink. Even with Ubers and rideshare apps and stuff like that, it's not safe. Because you never know what people at Uber, how they are. So you got to be mindful. We got to really be mindful today's time. We got to move smart. So with all that's going on with that, I want to just highlight those few things. There are a lot of different missing reports, and there's some people that do come home. There's some teenagers that are found safe, and there's some that's not. So as we continue to monitor, our children, make sure that that's something in our communities. We can bring up at community boards, community meetings, schools. Parent, when you around your parents and you're doing these things, you're doing these checks and balances, you're doing checks with neighbors. This is more important to really bring this stuff up so we can discuss a plan in our communities on how we looking out for our children. All right, so that's that. Second thing I want to bring up is these what's going on in the news on a political scale. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but there's a lot of different CEOs and corporations. CEOs and head hitters that are dying, right? So we have Lukoil. He's one of the second largest oil production to CEOs. He dies from this is back in 4 days ago, earlier last week. He dies from falling from in the building in Russia, in Moscow. So people say it's suicide related. People saying it was an accident, but you gotta understand that, you know, as the times move on, there's a lot of these heavy hitters are getting removed. All right, and there's Bath and Body Works. I'm sorry, not Bath and Body Works. Bed Bath and Beyond hit the CEO. He is murder suicide, and he jumped to his death, right, from his apartment balcony. So that was back yesterday, or the day before yesterday, depending on the news sources will put this out. But he was killed. He killed himself, right? And you have other CEOs and leaders killing themselves, jumping off, you know what I'm saying, getting killed, whether assassination attempts, whether it's just dying off. A lot of these corporations, these CEOs and these people that are in high positions are getting removed. And it's something that I did a video on, and I try not to be bringing to the biblical aspects on the channel, but it's getting to a point where it kind of proves my point of what's going on, right? So with the Bible, right, and I put a video out called A Prophetic Word about being a bloody summer, and one of the things I talk about is not only the violence, but you're seeing a lot of people dying, right? So it's a lot of movement, a lot of positioning of people that was in position before in leadership positions. They're being removed, they're being pulled down, whether they're being taken out by their own selves or someone else is taking them out, or they're dying from old age, or whatever the case may be, they're stepping down. This is the trend that's going on this season. This is the trend of a lot of these people being positioned, and they're not, you know what I'm saying, being in a position to make decisions for this company. So someone else is going to step in and guide this company. You know, someone's going to have a different agenda. You know, they're going to be able to make decisions. They're going to be able to go to meetings and put things in place. With everything's going on socioeconomically, this is the time where a lot of people are being pulled off their chairs. They're being released and put out. So there's something to pay attention to, because it's going to affect us in many ways. It's going to affect our community. It's going to affect how things are done. It's going to affect how we, how as a country, as a nation is going to move, and how the global economic scale is going to affect us too. You know what I'm saying? We are talking about the stock market collapse, and a lot of things are going on economically with the recession and inflation and all these different things. And it's going to continue to move into that direction. So these CEOs that are being moved out the way, someone else is going to step in their place, and it's going to make decisions on behalf of what that person was before. And it could be good or bad. It could affect us in a good way or a bad way. So it's just something to think about. Prepare yourselves. Start thinking about how, as a family, as a household, you're going to make decisions and move financially. How you're going to deal with it when it comes to protection. How it's going to deal with when it comes to preparing for what's to come. And just think about these things, man. It's not going to be a long video. I just want to highlight a few things. Everything is public knowledge, right? So you can do the research for yourself. You can go in here and you can look into stuff with the cartels and you know, what's some of the stuff that's going on in Texas and Arizona, California, with all the migrants, and then some of the stuff that's going on in New York. They're moving some people to New York to support. And you're going to think about all these migrants being locked up in stash houses with the cartel. They're using them for ransom because it's about money. It's about greed. So it's so much. This is why, again, it's important as a community to make sure that you're protecting your children, that you're being watchful and vigilant. You know, same thing with our schools. You know, schools starting back. We already know what happened last year with the school shootings and stuff like that. These mass shootings and mass killings. This is a time to be watchful for our youth, for ourselves, and to be watchful. So, and that's pretty much what I wanted to get on here and say. I wanted to get out here and say this stuff. And I know, like I said, I haven't been on here often, but when I do try to come on here, I try to put stuff out that's going to help and to hopefully encourage and empower those to look into what they need to. So that's all I have. It's very short and to the point. Just be mindful of our youth in regards to make sure we know where we're going. Make sure that you know the youth is being checked on. Whether it's a parent, whether it's a friend, a sibling, a teacher, a mentor, you know, a coach, however it may go, make sure that we're being mindful of our youth, especially in particular to our youth as a girls concerned, and being mindful everywhere they're going. It doesn't matter if they're in high school, whether it's in college, even when they're adults. The abductions are happening at many levels. They're not just, at a high school level. It's also at a college level. There's college women getting abducted, and it goes into even adulthood, right? The people are being targeted. So just be mindful, no matter what age level you at. Somebody needs to be knowing where you at, calling, checking, and don't take it as, oh, it's not that serious. It is serious. It is serious. And as far as the major players, let's just make sure we're paying attention. We're empowering each other to make plans and prepare. Plan and prepare. If you don't do anything else from this, take anything else from this video, plan and prepare for what's to come. Social, economically, whether it's security related, whether it's dealing with money, finances, whether it's dealing with our schools and education for our children, however it may go, make sure that we're involved into what we're doing. So hope this helps you, empowers you. If you have any comments, if you want to see teachings or anything you want to like to see, please go ahead and leave it in the comment section. And as things continue to come out, I will go in here and post and put stuff out. So y'all be blessed. And don't forget about the other channels. If you're interested into the Freedom Fighters channel, Breaking Barriers Ministries channel, Precious Pearl Ministries channel. We have many other different things that are YouTube channels out that you'd be like to listen to. Go ahead and go on those sites and check them out and subscribe and share. So y'all be blessed, and we'll see you on the next one.